Thank you. I love the brown. Okay, we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
I love how every recording starts with "Are we recording?"
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about organizing via a very specific tool. I've suckered you guys into a full hour talk on bullet journaling, but that not exactly. By the title, you might guess it's about organization. It's also a little bit about mental health, I would say. I had a friend who reviewed it say it's about self-knowledge, self-empathy, and self-kindness, and I absolutely adore that. But first things first, if we were in a room together, I would say, okay, everybody raise your hands, but I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like doing that. I will say, speak up and tell me what, if any, tools or methods you have attempted to help get organized or keep lists or remember things or show up on time or whatever. Yeah, chat's fine and out loud is absolutely fine.
I use
Notepad++.
Notepad++. What do you use Notepad++ for? Just lists?
I write stuff down.
Write stuff down. So kind of like a brain dump?
And then I delete it when I think it's not important. Or when I forget about it and I can't remember what it is.
You and I are going to get along fine, Mr. J. Dunstan. Yes. Okay, so far so good. Who else?
I use Tweedledoo.
I don't know what that is, Chad. What is that?
It's a task manager. It's
Okay. All right.
task list.
And did you say something, Scott, too?
Trello.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Trello, Kanban board type things. Anyone else want to jump in there?
I use OneNote
Okay.
because it doesn't delete when I reboot my server or computer.
I also use Post-it note.
Yes, absolutely. You and I will also get along just fine, Scott. Yeah, I wanted to ask that because it's a lot nicer to ask what productivity tools do you use rather than raise your hands if you've been diagnosed with ADHD or anxiety or any other neurodivergent. No. We don't have to call everybody out. That's people share it as they want to. We're going to talk about organization, the being broken, not broken part. Don't worry, we're not going to get into a big sob story. But I have had a real struggle with, functioning. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that because that's kind of what brought this talk about. The organizational tool I'm going to be talking about is bullet journaling. And don't worry, I've got a section for objections. And, because already somebody heard bullet journal and like 3 of you went, oh, I can't because XYZ. No, totally. I absolutely understand you can't because XYZ, but we'll at least talk about those objections. And somewhere in there, we're going to talk about the why. I'm not the only person in IT, clearly, who has had trouble concentrating or keeping organized or being places on time or remembering that you are supposed to teach a user group session at 4 p.m. Central Time on a Thursday. And so you should probably have your slide deck together and maybe even, finish your presentation. That was oddly specific. I'm not the only person who has trouble with these things. And the thing is that being a great student or a great worker or a great anything tends to depend on your ability to focus and to be organized and to be timely. They put that in along with communication, they put that in like most job requirements, absolutely everything from shoe scraper on up to neurosurgeon. Yes, I want my neurosurgeon to be organized and focused and timely. But that stuff is hard. And it took me a long time to figure out that it's a whole hell of a lot harder for me than it should be. Oh, as a side note, I'm absolutely adore interruptions and questions. Mind map, I like that. So please, either in chat or out loud, feel free to go, oh, hey, I've got a thing about that. And, if you talk too long, I'll be like, that's great. Okay, moving on. But I do like interruptions and interactions. So yeah, success, and I put that in quotes, really, it's helpful if you have these things, and I did not have them. So I and a whole lot of my techie compatriots spent a lot of years, or most of our lives, or all of our lives, searching for ways around those problems. you know? Oh, well, I do this. I set myself a timer so that I can concentrate. Pomodoro, we'll hear that more than once in this session. Um, all of these things that we do. And that's for neurodiverse folks, and that's also for neurotypical folks. Everybody has some trouble with these things. For me, it was, school was boring, right? Oh, I moved too fast. School was boring. Everybody was bored in school. But as I got older, I found it extraordinarily hard to sit still in class and listen. Like, it was actually literally impossible. And so I took up various forms of doodling and fidgeting and making lists and learning to write with my left hand backwards in cursive. And, I'm not an artist, but I would still draw things and so forth and so on. It helped to have something to do while the teacher was listening. While the teacher was talking. Teachers don't do a lot of listening. At some point in high school, I learned effective note taking, and it was just a gift from the gods because, like, oh, I see. It's productive doodling. Yay. And there was also something wonderful in being able to, it's going to sound silly, but write things down, get them out of my head into a semi-permanent state. And then college, oh my God. The note taking was really great for college, but I was always late. I was completely disorganized. I genuinely don't know how I managed to pull myself through what should have been 4 years to a bachelor's degree, but around that time, I think I started trolling stationery stores for calendars and planners and any kind of organizational tool that might have the ultimate answer somehow. There's so much potential in stationery stores, like, oh, maybe this one will make me feel better. This makes me feel better about having my camera off and playing a game. I'm reading a comment on my mobile device while listening. Yes, I support people fidgeting with stuff while I can't sit still even today and not do something while I'm in a session. The only reason I'm able to sit here while I'm giving a session is because I am actually doing something. I'm talking to you. And that's absolutely, it's funny, but it's not a joke. So productive doodling, college, trolling stationery stores. And I somehow never found that panacea, that glorious golden day planner or whatever that was going to solve all my problems and get me to class on time and get me up in the morning. It didn't happen. Career hit. And once again, I have no idea how I have stayed gainfully employed. I do have a couple of ideas, but that's this whole other topic that, we'll hang out and have coffee sometime and talk. But yeah, the exact same problems. They expect you to like show up on time and remember meetings and whatever, I don't know. And so, that's getting into the golden age of the early internet. And so I was reading articles and watching videos about productivity hacks and life hacks and various kinds of lists and apps you can get and reminders and calendars and Pomodoro timers and Kanban boards and on and on and on and on and on. I go to conferences once I got into my conference going phase and talk to people. Oh, what are you using to keep track of stuff? Oh, yeah, what's the URL for that? And so, that's a lot. I know that's a lot of stuff, but that's the beginnings. That's the what is going on. And a lot of this is funny, but a lot of it is dead serious too. I was genuinely trying to be better and I kept failing year after year in school, year after year in career. And I felt broken. I am from a generation that if you're not doing a thing, you are clearly the one that sucks. That's a hard way to live. Lest we get into deep psychology, we'll move on from there, but that's the basic premise. That's where I'm coming from. It is a bit of a shorthand to say that bullet journaling was the answer and everything is great now and that's all there is to it. But I mean, kind of. It's the simplest way I have to explain how I came to understand myself, forgive, accept myself, and embrace how my own brain works and say, oh, I see. I am not a broken human being. I am a human being who has to work in this way to accomplish what I want. And yeah, bullet journal not only kind of helped get me there, but it helps keep me going. So I've said this phrase like a zillion times. And again, if we were in a room together, I'd be hands up. Who knows what a bullet journal is? Doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you anyway. So what is this nefarious thing we keep hearing about, this bullet journal? It is a method of personal organization. I like to say that bullet journal is an operating system for a notebook. It is really the method. And we're going to go over it briefly, but we're mostly going to go over the whys and the hows and so forth. So the guy that developed it here, Ryder Carroll, says that it's a mindfulness practice disguised as a productivity system. And I just like that. It's clever. It's a nice little sound bite. And it's not bad. A mindfulness practice disguised as a productivity system. For me, it's an extremely forgiving method that helps track everything in my head and in my life. So first things first, you can use any notebook. Like there are official like bullet journal notebooks that you can get off of bulletjournal.com, and they're great and I love them. But you can run down to Walmart and you can grab a $1 composition notebook and use that. You can use the half empty notebook you got at the last conference that you went to sometime in 2019. Just whatever you want. You'll find, some of us are very persnickety about the notebook, but some aren't. And yes, you can absolutely do this digitally. I told you about all the fidgeting that I did. I find it extraordinarily useful to have a paper book, and other reasons too, we'll get into later, but anything you want, doesn't matter. And then you're going to set up your sections. Now there's a little video, 4-minute video you can watch. Please don't go there now. On bulletjournal.com shows you pretty much everything you need to know. We'll do it a little bit quicker here. I'll just say that the sections that a standard bullet journal has, you set up an index at the very front, which is a table of contents for a notebook. Way back in the day when we were in school, you would get your 5-subject notebook, right? And so this is the section that's dedicated to math, this one's English, and this one's science. And you would always wind up with like a 500 million things in like your science section and absolutely nothing in your, home ec session or whatever. So you don't do that with your paper journal or even your digital journal. You just put things wherever. You just use the next page and then write down the page number in your index. That's kind of glorious to me. But anyway, a future log. So that's actually what comes next in your bullet journal. So you do your index and then your future log, where you just kind of chart out the next 6 months and say, okay, like quite literally, let's see, it's March now. So April, May, June, July, August, September. And then, okay, so what's coming up? Well, I know in July, so-and-so's birthday. Oh, and in August, I've got that thing due. Oh, and in, so whatever month, maybe I'll ever get to go to a conference again. So you've got a quick overview of what's going on the next 6 months. It's a very nice at-a-glance thing. The monthly log, and I'll show you examples of these. Kind of the same thing, but it's an overview of this month. You actually write all the day numbers, 1 through 30 or what have you on the left, and say, oh yeah, on the 15th, I've got to do this thing. And oh, on the 17th, it's St. Patrick's Day, I forgot. And on the right, you write your tasks. Let me take a look at this. A bullet journal is a journal for guns. You can absolutely journal your guns in your bullet journal. That's fine. Need to plan my Halloween costume. Heck yes, you could do a collection for that. Talk about collections in just a minute. All right. So we did monthly log, calendar and tasks, and then entries. Some people do a weekly log so that they can get a glance at their week. Whatever. There's lots of flexibility here. Now, as far as the entries go, you do rapid logging. So like instead of a big elaborate thing, you just make a note and say, oh, I've got a thing, team meeting Thursday, 4 p.m. Or I just watched Master and Commander for the first time, or, just really nice and short. And that way it doesn't get in the way. This is not supposed to be onerous and, oh God, just one more thing I have to do. No. They're supposed to help. We use symbols so that we can at a glance see what's up. Writer has designated a dot for tasks, a circle for events and appointments, and a dash for just, notes and thoughts and what have you. So that's the start of it. Each month you'll set up your monthly log, and then you'll look back over either your last month or your daily entries and say, okay, are there any tasks that I still need to look at? And each month you decide, okay, does this task need to get migrated, this unfinished task? Do I migrate it forward to this month? Still worth doing. Do I send it back to the future log because it's not going to happen for another couple months? Or do I just go, you know what, I thought this was a good idea. I'm not going to do it. Just scratch it out. And you do a strike through. I see another couple of comments. Let's see. As DBAs, we use dash dash for notes. Oh my gosh, yes. Feel free to use DBA symbols in your bullet journal. If you don't think I do, you don't know me very well. You've been using the bullet journal method for about a month now. It's fantastic. Thank you, Dan. I did not pay Dan to say that, by the way. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is the absolute basics. The only other thing to cover is collections. So if you're studying something, or if you've got a hobby, or if you've got, I don't know, whatever, you can just dedicate a page or a half a page or what have you and say, okay, notes on woodworking, and take all the notes that you want and then put that page number in your index under woodworking. And so you've got your collection of woodworking notes throughout your journal, and a place where you can go and say, oh, I see, I've got woodworking on pages 13, 57, 83, and so forth. All right. I think that's the how. Is that it? Cool. Now the why. What's the big deal? Yes, it's all clever, and I can tell that you're all, amazed and blown away, but at the same time, you're kind of going, it's a notebook. Who cares? Let's talk about this for a second. I've explained to you some of my issues over time. This thing is flexible. Like, you can do whatever you want with it. With my ADHD brain, I need to be able to change, this month I'm going to do a different kind of monthly spread. This month I'm going to do, something else. Today I'm going to set up a weekly spread, whatever. I have added features to my bullet journal that are nowhere else in the world. I have invented things on my own that other people have also invented and done on their own. The thing is forgiving. Unlike, I may add, a student planner, which has every single day and every single hour mapped out. So if you forget about that thing for 3 weeks, then you go back to pick it up, it just looks at you and it shows you all those blank pages and say, you are wasting time. You don't waste time with a bullet journal. You set it down for 3 weeks, you come back to it. Oh, hey, look at that. I could probably, I've set it down for a couple of months before. And then you go back and you put it in another month. It's not a big deal. It's again, I'm being funny, but it's a really big deal to me. Do you ever have to alter, index, rebuild the notebook? A silly way to ask a serious question about fragmentation inside the journal. That's actually an excellent question, Chad. And I saw something recently. That's one way to it. First, I'll say I personally use bound notebooks, and it's part of my practice to just be forgiving, to be organized as I need to be, and then to let the rest go. It's okay to be messy. It's okay to use this in whatever way you want. It's okay to cross out an entire page. It's your bullet journal, and you get to make up the rules. Now, for someone who, for example, would like to write all of their collections and then maybe eventually migrate them elsewhere, there's a certain kind of notebook that I'm trying to remember what it's called right now, but the way it's bound, it's kind of like those little notebooks, like 3 or 5 ring binders. You could absolutely do it that way. These have these little discs. They're disc bound notebooks maybe, and it's the same thing. Like, you can take out the pages or reorganize them if you want. The thought of it makes me a little bit skittish because the pages, I number my pages. You kind of have to if you're going to have an index. But yeah, so if that's something that you want to do, yeah, absolutely. I have also, with my non 3 ring binder bound notebooks, For certain things, I will take a Post-it and I will fill it out and move it along as I go through my journal. So that's another option that you have for whatever. I like that question. So yeah, it is flexible. You can do whatever you want. It is forgiving. It's not going to judge you with a bunch of blank pages. And it really is for everyone. I told you before, I am not neat or artistic. Oh my gosh, I am not neat or artistic. I try, and then I just don't want to try anymore. And I go back to be, messy, and that's fine because it's functional. As a matter of fact, let me, whoops, nope, go back. Let me escape out of this and change the way I'm sharing. If I can find the meeting controls. Because I want to show you something. Okay, new share. Let's go ahead and share everything. Well, if I share everything, you're going to see yourselves, unless it's going to weird you out. Where was it going to go? Please hold. Your session is very important to us. And is it this one? Yep, it's this one. Okay, so this is the one I want to share. Hopefully you guys can now see a Chrome window. This is reddit.com/r/basic bullet journals. If you just search bullet journal pages online, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of gorgeous art and beautiful layouts and washi tape and colors and all these things. And I support that. For those folks who want to do that, you go. I love it. That's not me. I am a basic bullet journal kind of person. So here's an example of an index. Again, hopefully you can see this. Let me glance at chat real quick. An example of an index, and this is very neat. I absolutely love it. You'll notice this is a dot grid. The dot grid paper is very popular in bullet journaling. But it's extraordinarily simple too. There's nothing super artsy about it. Very, very good index, A+ for these folks. Here is an example of a future log, and this is fairly traditional. You've got your, it's in another language, but it's January, February, and so forth, with the days, and then with space for marking down, oh, this is going on this month, and this is going on here. But yeah, I just wanted to show you, if you go ahead and contrast, if you do a search for bullet journal pages versus these nice, simple things. So here's a monthly layout like I was talking about before. On the left, you've got your 1 through 31 for this August, apparently. And on the right, they've got August thoughts, but you can do whatever you like. Typically, it's tasks. And then here is someone's collection or their entry. They've got their bullet journal symbols reference over there on the left. And then on the right, they've just got, okay, here's a day, and here's a couple of notes, and here's a day, and that you can see them using the different kind of bullet points. So all of that simply to say, 1, here's what these things look like, and 2, it doesn't have to be gorgeous. Now let's see if I can figure out how to get back to my PowerPoint slides. Share. Yay. And now if I can get back into presentation mode. Thank you. Presenter view. Maybe you can present from right where we are instead of making me scroll. Yeah. I don't know what this is. Please go away. Okay. We talked about all of those things. Now let's talk about more of the same thing, really. For a good number of us, there are issues like the ones I've described, being overwhelmed, being bored as all hell and needing fidget, being completely unable to keep a thought in your head unless you write it down. I frequently tell my kids, hold on a second, I can't think if I don't have paper. And that applies to digital paper too. But if I've got to work something out, or if I've got to, if I'm being told something that doesn't have immediate application, I've got to put it somewhere or it's just gone. That's ADHD brain. That's part of how my mind works, and it's all right. So if you're overwhelmed, dump all that stuff onto a page, right? I will specifically, for me, I will title a page Scratchpad, and it's sort of a little permission to myself to just do whatever you want on this page. So I have written down every single thing I can from my brain just to get it out. I've done all kinds of things. If you've got a bad memory like me, and I mean really bad, not just short term, but long term memories just go away. This is pretty great because you can go back and flip through and say, oh, you know what? It looks like here. Let's actually do this. If you could see me, you would see I'm flipping through my actual real live bullet journal. Oh, look at that. January 11th, school started. Oh, I'm looking at my January monthly spread. January 20 was the Biden-Harris inauguration. Oh, cool. And you can actually have a chance of, quote, remembering something by going looking for it in your own notebook. Overwhelmed, I'm reading from a chat now. Overwhelmed, dump it onto a page, saved my sanity. I was so worried about forgetting something once. I documented everything that was on my mind. I found a lot of peace. Same, man. Same. For those of you who don't need this, it's absolutely fine. But if you're overwhelmed, you've never tried it, oh my gosh, just give yourself permission to put everything down, and then you can move it, migrate it, scratch it out later, it doesn't matter. Being disorganized, I am the queen of disorganization. I am an absolute master at being disorganized. And I have found that I can keep up with this, eventually, whatever it was will cross my mind again, and I will write it down in the right spot. And I'm developing habits around it too. One of the objections will be that we'll address will be, well, that's on paper. I have to have something that will notify me and remind me at the time I'm supposed to do something. Oh, absolutely, me too. But I have a thing where I will write it in my journal, and I will make myself a timed reminder on my phone. It's just the way I've chosen to work. And then we've already talked about fidgety until we, pounded it into the ground. And then I've got a couple of notes down here just to demonstrate the different bullet types. So I've got a task, that single solid bullet. I've got to do my bullet journal blog. I actually get to cross that one off because I did that one already. I've got an event coming up, a birthday on the 29th, cool. And then just a thought, why aren't drafts sentient? All right, first I want to ask you folks, what, if any, objections you might have? Why won't this work for you, or why are you worried that it won't work for you? And vocally, or yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll go.
Oh, sorry. I should have called on somebody. Yes, Chad, you go.
The fragmentation question was mine, because having the pages be out of order and scattered is going to drive me crazy. But if I do one electronically, where I can resort, repaginate, and keep everything, all of the same topic together, then it would work great.
You absolutely can do it digitally. Yes. You absolutely can get yourself one of those, modular notebooks, I guess, a 3-ring or what have you. However it works for you is the best. Dan, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, one of the techniques that that Ryder talks about is basically using pointers to keep his collections together, even if they span more than 1 or 2 pages, even across volumes.
Yep.
That doesn't resolve the, it's not digital issue. Something that I do for that, I'll start a collection in my bullet journal, and then I'll move it into a Google Keep list. And that way I can share it with other people. We can collaborate on it, and I can have it available on all my devices, not just when my bullet journal's in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Another possible solution that someone might implement, and I've been meaning to do this for some time, is to take scans or photos of key pages and put them up in a Google Drive in folders as you like. That really is something I've been meaning to do, because I usually have my bullet journal with me, but not every moment of every single day. Andrea, you had
so much. Like,
please.
My main objections come down to, I freak out about using paper or writing the wrong thing down. It's one of those things. And so I try digitally, and then I get behind, and then I get mad at myself. So like all the stuff that you've been talking about, like, oh, I completely forgot to set up my weekly bullets, and and so it's one of those things where always like get mad at myself because I didn't keep up on it. And so I loved when you were like, just give yourself permission. It's okay. And
Yeah, for something like that, if I had that going on, I would write down in the front cover of my bullet journal, here are the rules. There are no rules. You must use this however you want. You must waste paper. You must leave blank space. You must give yourself permission, whatever version of that. Because once again, it sounds funny, but it's actually crippling. It is devastating to have these things in your head holding you back from what you want to do. It's like, just let me write things down wrong. And that's been the big thing for me is, and I will, we're friends. I will show you my bullet journal. The rest of you folks, I'm just going to show you other people's examples. Sorry. Not because I'm ashamed of how messy it is, but because, none of you guys want to see my personal crap going on. But yeah, to give yourself that freedom to say, I will structure this however I want, and then I will break that rule if I feel like it, is great. There's nothing wrong with that. Someone asked in chat, what is your preferred writing instrument? It kind of depends for me, and there are actually entire subreddits dedicated to pens and writing instruments. I have used, I tend to use the Pilot G2 because the gel pens, because I like how they write. Unfortunately, with the notebook I like, it tends to smear, and so I'll have to use it and then blot it. I've also got some felt tip zebra pens. I got a set of colored pens for myself for like my birthday or something. I don't remember what. And that's been a lot of fun. Of course, I lose colors, but again, I give myself permission to lose pens. It's totally fine. But yeah, those are me personally, but it's absolutely going to come down to personal preference, what journal you're using. I even got an inexpensive fountain tip pen for the first time, and I like that okay, but then I moved to Colorado and the change in pressure like exploded the cartridge or something. Anyway, so that's a good question. I like the writing instrument because that's a thing. I often start a collection in my BuJo, then move it to Google Keep. Heck yes, you said that out loud. Avoid granite and Chicago.
You're muted, Dan. I know you were trying to answer.
Sorry.
There you go.
I think he's saying, avoid trying to carry granite tablets and a chisel as writing instruments.
Correct.
Yeah, totally fair. Those are heavy and not practical.
Yeah, they're good for Vikings.
I think we lost Jen.
Did we lose Jen?
Jen, no.
Come back, Jen. Come back to us. I am going to message her. Oh no.
So Chad, about the defragmenting the index.
Yeah.
It sounds like this might be something where it's just really easy to like deal with it for a week or whatever the cycle is. And then when you're at your next checkpoint, just write it however you want it to be that next week.
Yeah, I think that's probably one option is to not write the week ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep everything in the future in its own little place and then add it. Or
everything in the future goes back into your monthly or further out time frame. And I don't write anything ahead. I start either the night before, but usually the morning of. I created, well, here, let me show my, that's today. And I didn't do that until I got to work this morning, actually. Usually I do start it before I get to work, but everything ahead of that is blank still. I've got page numbers on some of them. Nope, I have actually even caught up to my page numbers.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
You don't write anything. Well, I don't write things ahead. If I've got an appointment in the future, I go back to my month page and it gets put into the March, oh, that's not it. The March index, wherever my March index went.
Oh,
Here
you
we
do
go.
monthly indexes? That's cool. I
So
would not have
my
considered
index
that.
is there, and there's my to-dos, my tasks that, so if I go back and put it into here and then move it forward when I start my day, I'll go and see, oh, I've got something there that I need to put in. I've got an appointment. But I also use Outlook at work for appointments. And right now, most of my stuff is through work. And so it's not been an issue. It'll be interesting when COVID's no longer an issue and things aren't all locked down, to see what I end up doing.
Pilot G2 Purple. I am looking through the chat and I'm so glad that I had someone here to take over. My internet went out for just a moment. If it happens again, I'll just join on my phone and we'll go on without, somehow we'll go on without a PowerPoint
Hey,
presentation.
I think that's the joy of living in an amazing place like you're living now.
I'm in Texas right now.
Oh, are you in Texas right now? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's I took a trip to visit. Anyway, so
And
Hey.
Lars, I really love that you're giving yourself permission to fold the corners of pages. I was like, oh my goodness, you fold paper. Like, oh.
you can fold. I need to get, you know what I need to get you? I need to get you one of those wreck this journals. Have you seen those? Because it's actually a book that each page tells you to do something, like rub food on this page or tear this page out and burn it or what have you.
Oh.
What it's for. Okay, so we were talking about I can't use paper. Then yeah, absolutely, please use something digital. Not everybody. For the problem for me with using digital is object permanence. And again, it sounds funny, but I'm actually kind of being serious. I lose things, and things online in my brain are all the same to me. It's all vanilla, with very few exceptions. Now, I have finally made an exception. I've got a Google Drive that I now have established in my head as a location, and so forth and so on. But I still rely like almost entirely on my paper bullet journal. So that's just something that's with me, though. I don't, I'm not saying everyone give up your computers and write on things. Yeah, just keep the sections, keep the methods, and add your own stuff. Do you keep the notebooks after you fill them up? Heck yes, my friend. I now have something like, I don't know, I just moved, but like a dozen of these notebooks. And that's I can go back and try to find events and see if I wrote anything at all down about it. I can go back and see where I was 3 years ago. All kinds of things like that. For me personally, again, this is like a really messy, inconsistent history of me and the things going on around me. Now, I would love to be one of those people that could, like all the old time journals, I woke up at 6 and had a boiled egg and so forth and so on. I that would be great because, me from now would like to hear about all that stuff from back then, but I'm not. So, I take what I can get. There's a bullet journal app for Android. Cool. If anyone uses it, let us know how it is. The app is called the Bullet Journal Companion. Pilot G2 is also my favorite pen. Cool. No, you're not weird for having a favorite pen. Seriously, go on to Reddit, Greg, and look, just do a search for writing instruments. And there's probably going to be like 5 or 6 different subreddits. I'm going to skip over the funny comment. All right, we're all caught up. All right, so we said, I object, I can't use paper. I object, I can't get started. I was speaking with somebody a couple 3 weeks ago when this session came up, and I was getting people's input. And that was the objection, is I have no idea. I've got like 5 projects going on. I don't know how. Just dump everything onto a page, in your bullet journal or out of it, whatever, just get it all out of your head. From there, after you have written everything down, you can copy things off by topic, or you can highlight, project A in yellow and project B in pink or what have you. However you want to organize it after that is absolutely fine. But yeah, just get started. It's fine. You don't even have to set up your future log or anything. Just write it down. I'm kind of scrolling down through my notes because somewhere in here is an objection that I didn't have time to put in the thing. Oh, well, fine. Well, we'll get to it later. So other ideas, you can use whatever method of organizing and whatever hybrid system that you want. You've already heard from some of the folks in the room saying that they use a paper journal and another thing. I use a paper journal and I've got a task tracker on my phone because I have found a lot of people will use trackers, a monthly tracker for their meds or for exercise or for water. I have tried. They don't work for me. I don't keep up with them. I don't like them. I will plan out a month ahead and then, future me will look back at past me and go, don't tell me what to do, and scratch out all those things. I'm not kidding. Yeah. So I use an app for tracking tasks like, oh, I drank this much water and I've done yoga this many times this week once. Brain dump, switch, organizing things, right. This is why I write things down, because I can't stay on task. I put appointments in Outlook and set reminders, usually a couple of reminders for those. What else? So we already talked about the brain dump and the scratch pad. You can organize things by project, okay, so as a matter of fact, recently I wrote down a bunch of stuff and then looked at them and went, you know what, some of these are projects with multiple steps. Some of them are one-off tasks and some are just recurring. And there's no way I'll ever finish them because, shopping, that's something I'm going to do every week or two. I'm talking about grocery shopping. I don't really go clothes shopping a lot. But anyway, but if you do, that's fine. You can organize by zones of assessment. For any of you who have ever watched Survivor Man with Les Stroud, this will sound a little bit familiar. When you are lost out in the woods or desert or what have you, he says the first and most important thing is to sit down, be still, and assess, starting from closest to you outward. So closest to you, what is actually on me? What resources may I have on me? Do I have a pocket knife, a cell phone? Do I have an emergency kit, a method of making fire, a blanket, whatever? And then the next step, look around. What is immediately close to me? And then what beyond that, and so forth. Same exact thing. I recently organized my thoughts by saying, okay, let's start with me personally. Well, that's going to be things like, whatever I've got going on right now, my meditation or my water intake or what have you. And then the next level out, well, that would be my husband and my kids. Okay, what do I need to think about in respect to those? And the next level out, okay, well, the house itself, what do I need to do for like paying bills and crap like that? Next level out, and so forth. So however you feel like organizing your life this week or this day or this moment is absolutely fine. I wrote down Maslow's hierarchy of needs because I can absolutely see how that would be a method for organizing your life. So, well, okay, food and shelter. Let's start with that. Going to pay the bills, going to do the job. That's how we're going to look at things right now. Make a list for those things. And I came up, again, when you're working on these things, you'll often independently invent something and then find out someone did it 80 years ago. I'll do a matrix, just an X and a Y axis. And one of them I will label important, not important. And the other I will label urgent, not urgent. It turns out that's the Eisenhower Matrix. There's another name for it too. But it's really nice to be able to do little, here's a point that's urgent and important because I've got a doctor's appointment for this thing that's been bothering me and it's coming up right away. A thing that is urgent but not important usually gets stricken off the list. So I've got about 1 million more things related to this, but this is the first time I'm giving this session. And we're at a decent time to just hang out and compare notes. Aha, see what I did there. I get applause. And do more questions and more talking of pens and so forth. I will say, absolutely ping me on Twitter at MidnightDBA. I can, if you want my email, I can give that to y'all. What else? I do like, I've mentioned a few times, the Basic Bullet Journals subreddit. And I'll update this slide deck at some point and put it up on my website. So questions, comments, thoughts out loud or in chat. Do you revisit past journals to find gems of awesomeness? Yes, actually I do, Lars. One of the things I like is to, if I read a particularly beautiful quote or you know, something hilarious one of my kids says, I'll put it in the book and circle it. And I've even done indexes of awesome. I've also gone back and tried to do overall timelines. Like I'm not consistent about this, but I'll finish a notebook and then go and look for major milestones throughout the notebook. And at the very end, I'll put a timeline for it. Do the journals still bleed? That's too philosophical for me. I get awesomeness fatigue. It's too much awesomeness. Well, if you find that you are suffering from too much awesomeness, then go ahead and imbibe just a little bit of suck as a treat. Oh, do the journals still bleed ink? Oh, okay. I thought we were back on the sentience thing and I had no idea. If you're talking about the official bullet journal, which is a very, just a kind of a branded version of the Leuchtturm 1917. Did it really bleed? No, I'm gonna say no. These don't bleed. But like I said, they don't soak up the Pilot G2 ink quite as well as I'd like. But other than that, they're basically, for me, the absolutely perfect journal. Cool. Hop on voice chat if you feel like it, or text chat. And what else have you got? Definitely feedback is great because, you know, again, this is the first time giving this session.
So I'm going to jump in.
Please. God, yes.
Because I would love to try it, but it sounds super overwhelming. So, so that I can take small baby steps.
Oh, yes.
Give me like 5 things that I should do to get started with a bullet journal. Just like
that is a really excellent question. Let me think about that for half a moment. And I'm automatically reaching for Notepad. I don't know if I shared my whole screen. Did I?
Yes, I think you are, because it looked like it was coming up for a second, but maybe.
Can you see Notepad? Okay.
No, I'm not seeing it right now. So
all right, let me reshare then, because you know we may as well. You can see my process. Screen. Let's do the whole screen. Cool.
There it is.
5 things to start. Well, you know, get a notebook. Any notebook, doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is going to be like your 1-month notebook or your trial notebook or your, you know, pick it up, put it down, lose it notebook. It's fine. Set your own rules.
I love when you said that with all the permissions, like it's okay to do this, this, and that with this
I will
book.
send you a script if you want. I will happily provide a script and you can alter it however you like. I would say I'm gonna do just 3 things remaining. So get a notebook, set your own rules, set 2 pages aside at the start for index. Do a very simple monthly spread. Do a rapid log. So if I were going to, and if you would prefer to do a brain dump instead of a rapid log, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, rapid log or brain dump. Brain dump. That will do you fine. If you do nothing else, just the index, the monthly spread, and some rapid logging. Doesn't matter. Your rapid log, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and share my digital bullet journal, because like I said, I have actually been doing that some lately. There we go. All I did was a Google Doc. That's it. I went ahead and did a table of contents because, you know, I'm a nerd like that. That's your automatic index and page numbers. I set up a future log in here, not really using it yet because I don't think I have anything. I have nothing on my schedule. But yeah, I'm tracking, and here's some of the personal stuff I was talking about. I'm tracking my personal allowance, and I've got, this is the month of March, 1 through whatever. Let's see, where are we? Oh, hey, guess what? It's harder to do the circle bullets in Google Docs. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'll figure it out. Give a presentation to Salt Lake City user group. And then, like, for a rapid logging, let's say, what's today? Today is Thursday, March 18th. I would say I had mom's pancakes this morning. Oh yeah, I would note that I'm in Dallas because that's unusual. Let's see, I'm at Jules' house. Going to Mexico tonight. And if that's it. Like, and that's just the stuff I felt like writing down, you know? None of that is necessary or required. You do not have to tell your journal where you are, when you are, what the weather is like, what's going on. You can skip everything if you want. And you can go straight to, oh, right, I'm gonna make up some stuff. Tomorrow I need to walk the guinea pigs and shave the dog. And let's see, let's go ahead and make that tomorrow. And I need to, you know, call the Pope. Whatever is on my list, whatever is on my mind, you know. I've got actually a list somewhere. Someday I should get a manicure, I guess, or, you know, visit Australia. And if you think, genuinely, if you guys think I do not have things like visit Australia in my journal, in like, not even in the future log, I think I'd probably stick that in like a far future log or something like that. Yeah, no, I absolutely do. So yeah, your 5 things to start: notebook, rules, index, month, rapid log. That's what I would say. Excellent question.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I understand it's very overwhelming. There's a book called The Bullet Journal Method. Yeah, I got it too. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey Jen, do you buy the bullet journal from the bulletjournal.com, or do you buy a journal that is a bullet journal?
I have before bought the official bullet journal. I say again, here, let's go to, whoops, let's go to Amazon for a sec.
Yeah, I came in late, so if
No, you're quite all right. Hey, it's recorded. Let's just look at journal. Wait for it. Oh, these are basically the pens that I got. Not the same brand, but yeah, anything, you know, anything you want, you can get. The super cool, fancy leather sun and moon. I didn't actually mean to click on that. You can get those. You can get a moleskin. You can get one of those really pretty ones from the local Barnes and Noble. The brand of bullet journal, I saw it. Give me a second, and I'm too stubborn to try. There we go. The Leuchtturm. This is it.
Gotcha.
And I've got, like, I think it's about a 5x8. So you'd have to see. Is A5 the 5x8 inch? 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. So yeah, that's the one, and it's really quite nice because it's got a really nice cover. It comes in dotted, lined, or blank. Man, I tried one of the blank ones and it made me crazy. The pages are numbered for you, which is brilliant. It's got a little pocket in the back. So yeah, that's like the official. But yeah, seriously, if y'all don't want to, get a spiral notebook or a composition notebook. They're nice and cheap, and you'll feel better about like throwing them away or burning them if you feel like it. It's like, this isn't working out, I'm gonna try again. Good question. Is that all you got? Oh, right. Say again. Go to bulletjournal.com, and it's a lovely intro, and it's also a lovely review. So if you go in there and click on that first page where it says what and why, it'll take you to this 4-minute video. That's really quite great. But yeah, it's a really good point.
This
People
is so
sort of,
awesome.
just a 5-step. If this is all too overwhelming, do this. Cool. Other questions, other comments? Started with a composition notebook, outstanding. I like the Luchterm. Medium A5 ruled hardcover. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what I've got right now. Oh, I actually got a lined notebook right now. I was on the dotted stuff, but I think I really like the lined.
I like the idea of getting a really pretty one from Barnes and Noble.
Heck yes. The only issue with that is that you'll have to number the pages yourself, but it's really not a big deal. Just do it as you go along. Cool. Well, I guess that is it, folks. That is my presentation. Thank you so much for bearing with me and for enthusiastically contributing your own bullet journals. That was really quite awesome. And for providing the links too. But I clearly will talk about both mental health and I'll say productivity hacks, but it really is like mindfulness and self-acceptance and productivity all kind of bundled into one. We need a word for that, and I don't have it. So
does this help when your brain like is running at night and you can't stop it?
Yes, that is
Okay.
especially when I will take the things out of my head and put them down, because it comforts my little lizard brain. It's okay. All of the things that you had worrying you, they are safe in this book. And lizard brain goes, well, okay, can we have a bedtime story? And I say yes, and I'll put it on an audiobook.
Yeah, I do brain dumps right before I go to bed. I mean, not right before, but before I go to bed so I can sleep. If I have anything on my mind while I sleep, I don't sleep. My brain wants to work it out.
Yep. And, it doesn't even have to be something that's pressing. It's, how many times was there war in Europe? What is Europe? Really? Where does it end? That's the sort of thing that your brain is like, let's stay awake and work on this. No brain. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
So
This
great.
is like one of my favorite things in the universe, and I can't believe I haven't been talking about it for years.
Does anyone have any other questions for Jen? I'm watching the chat too. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say thank you for the reminder to be forgiving, because that's been one of the things that I've struggled with. I've gone through several journals, and I haven't really come up with a very structured method yet, other than separating things into sections by folding pages. That's where I'm at right now.
That's wonderful. And I was kind of like, before I found bullet journal, I was like in the process of developing bullet journaling, because I had like the index going on and the numbered pages and a few other things, but yeah, that really brought it all together. And yeah, it's really been over time that it's a matter of, you know what, I'm not a failure. I'm not a ridiculous person if I, waste a page or what have you. You've got to work the system that works for you. So awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Love it.
Thanks so much, Jen.
Awesome.
We really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes,
All
we're all
right.
clapping. Like,
Yay! All right.
There's a round of applause, even though a lot of us are on mute. But yes, there's a round of applause.
I can hear them. It's a whole stadium full of people. It's
right? They're all like, "Yay, Jen!" Thank you.
All
We
right.
really appreciate you. Do you need to drop off and